Should you core aerate your lawn? Simple answer is yes, but why? Hey, what's going on everyone? Ian here from Cullings Landscaping. Just want to take a few minutes to go over the benefits of aeration and when the best time to do it is. So me personally, I like to do it in the fall, just because it's starting to get a little bit cooler temps. You want to make sure that you do it when the grass is still actively growing though, and the root systems are still developing. You can also do it in the spring. The only thing with the spring is you're competing with the weed. So if you're looking to do any type of overseeding, it's much easier and a lot more effective to do it in the fall because you're not competing with that crabgrass. Also in the spring, it's good to put down a pre-emergent to prevent the weeds. So if you don't put down a pre-emergent, you're more likely to bring more weed seeds to the surface with the plugs that you pull from aerating. The main purpose of aerating is to decompact the soil. So over time, what can happen is, especially if you're running big zero-turn mowers or just a lot of foot traffic on the grass, it can start to compact, and that restricts the roots from growing deeper, which limits the amount of nutrients that they get. And if you get any droughts or anything like that, the grass is more likely to go dormant if the roots are more towards the surface. So the deeper they go, the healthier it's going to be. Also in the fall, you can do overseeding. So when you overseed in the fall, you're not competing with the weeds, and you get a little bit of soil contact. So you pull the plugs, that can add a little bit more soil to the top of the surface to help the grass seed germinate, and also the seeds can go into the plugs, which will help it germinate, getting that soil contact and retaining a lot of moisture. Another great thing to do after you aerate is to put down any type of yard enhancements that you like, any type of organic materials such as compost. If you're trying to level, you can do some type of sand, such as lime. It's a great time to do it because all that nutrients gets directly down to the roots of the grass. So when you aerate, you pull these plugs, and in these plugs, you'll be able to check to see what the thatch layer is. So there's a thatch layer that's right along the top. Here it's only about 1/4 of an inch, so nothing to worry about. Anything over 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, you might want to do dethatching as well to help break that up, because what that thatch layer does is it prevents nutrients and water and everything from getting down into the roots. And that definitely deters it from becoming a much hardier and more resilient type of grass. Also, another good thing to look for when you get these plugs up is to check the roots. If you pick it up and the dirt falls right off and it's not held together with any roots coming down, that means you have a really shallow root system. So if you get a drought in the summer, it's more likely to burn up and not and go more dormant during those times. So aerating the lawn also prevents disease. So in that thatch layer, if a lot of moisture starts to build up in that area, that's where a lot of the funguses start from. So if you get rid of that thatch layer, you're much likelier to have a very healthy grass and more resilient grass during the hot, humid months. So overall, lawn aeration is one of the best things you can do for the lawn. It helps promote root growth, helps get oxygen to the roots, which also helps the roots expand. It helps get nutrients down to the roots, and it helps create a much healthier grass, and a grass that it will be less likely to burn up in the summer months. The best times to aerate in the fall or the spring. The spring, you're competing with the weeds, so it's a little bit harder to do that because you want to make sure you get down a pre-emergent in the spring. There are a few chemicals you can use, such as tenacity, which is mesotrione, that will actually allow the grass seed to germinate but not allow the weed seeds to germinate. It's a little bit trickier to work with. Sometimes it takes a couple applications. So it's just much easier to get your pre-emergent down in the spring, wait till the fall, do your aeration, your overseeding all in the fall, because now your grass seed's not competing with any weeds, and it's much more easier to have it germinate. You have a lot cooler temperatures, usually get a little bit more water as well. So it's much easier to get that lawn established, and then it can get developed and then pick right back up again in the spring. So should you aerate your lawn? The first thing you want to check for is your soil. So if your soil seems to be very compacted, or if you have very clayey soil, then aeration can be very beneficial for your lawn. That compaction, again, will cause your roots not to grow very well and stay more shallow versus going deeper into the earth where you can get more nutrition. And also, if it's very clay, you can do the same thing. If your lawn is showing a lot of poor drainage, aeration can help retain some of that water to get down to the roots and give it more nutrition. So how often should you aerate? It's never a bad thing to aerate once a year, but it's not necessary. If you're doing any type of overseeding, I would definitely recommend it. But you should at least do it every 1 to 3 years to keep your grass in good health. The best time to aerate is in the fall, just because you are not competing with any weeds, especially if you want to do any type of overseeding. So you can, in the spring, you can make sure you put down your pre-emergent to prevent any weeds and crabgrass from coming up. You can also do it in the spring, but again, you're competing with the weeds. After you aerate, it's also a good time to do any type of soil conditioner. So if you wanted to put down any calcium, such as lime, that'd be a great time to do so, or fertilizer. If you're not planning on doing any type of overseeding, that could also be a good time to do it. You just want to make sure that you're aerating when the roots are actively growing. If you get a lot of diseases, you should either dethatch your lawn or aerate, and that'll help break up that thatch layer where a lot of the disease and fungus will develop from. So making sure you do that will help deter the funguses and diseases from taking place. Thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe. Hope everyone has an awesome day.